the Let's Bake Sew Along with Lori Holt's pattern. And tonight is the Kitchenaid Mixer. So I don't know if you guys are ready for this Kitchenaid Mixer, but it is really been a lot of fun, and I'm surprised at how easy it is to actually put it together. But yesterday, I wanted to remind you guys what we did yesterday. Yesterday, we went ahead and we talked about the You Are Loved heart quilt that we're doing a sew along on. And so you're using a piece of crossword puzzle, let's see, what is this? Word search fabric that has really good positive things like you are intelligent, you are all these wonderful things, okay? And that is one of the squares in this heart block over here. And so yeah, the pattern is published now on Stitches Quilting's website, and you can find the pattern, download it. All of the instructions are there for you to make the quilt. If you need a kit, or if you need some of this fabric, if you want to use your own red colors and fabrics that you have, the kit is available as a kit that's already pre-cut, or you can buy some of the crossword positive words thing. And we're going to embroider around these on the You Are Loved quilt. So just wanted to review that, and I taught you yesterday on the video how to piece those blocks together. So that's kind of what we're doing there. Hi, thanks for all. It's so good to see everybody. Hello from California. Hi, Denise. Hi, Carolyn. It's so good to see all of you guys. I just love getting together with you guys every night. It's really a lot of fun. But tonight, so tell me what all of you guys are up to and what all of you guys are doing or have been working on today. So let me know. I'm so curious. Remember, if you share the video, to go ahead and write shared in the video. And tonight we are going to be winning some Lori Holt fun things, and I will find something fun that while we're working on it tonight. So anyways, I wanted to go ahead and share that with you guys. So go ahead and share the video, and then we'll pick 3 people from Facebook. 3 people from Facebook, someone from YouTube, and some people from Instagram too. So to actually win and everything that just got there. So you just got a KitchenAid for Christmas. Oh, Donna, that's so wonderful. I've had a KitchenAid for a really long time. But I'd love some of the new ones that are just the beautiful colors and things like that. And in fact, let me try to put the quilt block. But boy, you know, they make it so hard. The marketing stuff that they do out there is so tricky. And you know, you kind of want to get always the new kind of fresh one. But mine's like this big old metal industrial type KitchenAid. It's pretty fun. But so far, this is the KitchenAid block. So let me move the Facebook camera down just a little bit. I'm sorry, you guys. There we go. So, oh, and David, would you do me a favor and just grab, there's 2 boxes of thread that are over on the piano. If you can grab me those, I wanted to show some people that. Okay, so this is the KitchenAid Mixer, and I'm going to show you more of what we're doing, but can you see it? It's so cute. It's so, so cute. And this is actually the plug where you plug in the mixer, and then there's the rick-rack that comes up to the plug. It should kind of stick there, but not really. This is the shape that we're going to use for part of it, but I have parts of it already made, so you can see that right there, hopefully. So that's what we're going to be working on. Okay, good. Thank you, David. You are awesome. I appreciate it. Okay, so let's get started, ladies. First of all, I wanted to show you some of the chicken scratch that we did last week. So this is one of the chicken scratch squares that are gingham. And I guess in some time ago that, and thanks, David, for helping. You are awesome. We'll see you a little bit later. But this is a piece of gingham. And you guys, one of the sweetest ladies on Facebook, she sent me a picture of a chicken scratch quilt that she had made. And it is so beautiful, and I need to share it online. But there are chicken scratch quilts. So, but you can see here how you use the gingham to actually do some, what do you call it? Cross stitch. So you're using the gingham as squares, and then on here we're using one of Lori Holt's little buttons. Lori Holt has got these 3 jars of buttons, and they're all different kind of colors and shapes and fun little things. But if you guys are interested in some of her buttons, they are online. But I just thought that this is so darling, and I'm so intrigued by the chicken scratch. And so I wanted to show you real quickly how to do the chicken scratch. So this is one of the red gingham squares, and she's having you do it so that you're doing red on red gingham and blue on blue gingham. And I guess that's kind of traditional how it looked back then. Has anyone done chicken scratch before? Has anyone done chicken scratch? Let me know if you have. I'm so curious. I really, really am. So I wanted to show you this, but what you're doing, and let me see if I can do this kind of backwards. I'm going to put on my glasses, so I'm rather accurate at it. But you come up through it. You use the and we're using the chunky thread right here. So I'm trying to think. I can count how many threads are in this. But you can see that we're just going ahead and we're going along, and we're making like the head of the flower. Can you guys kind of see that? Or should I bring it closer? Let's see here, but you just go down, up and down, and it's actually really kind of relaxing because you don't have to think or count as much as you would think. Does that make sense? I'm going to go ahead and just move this camera just a little bit further down. But I mean, it actually, because when you're doing cross stitch on, say, the linen with the teeny tiny little squares, for me, I have to keep rethinking what I'm doing. So let's just go ahead and go and cross over one of these. Of course, you'd kind of, you know, but here you go. So I'm going to cross over one of these squares. I'm doing it kind of backwards. And then that makes that go together. But I really am finding this so intriguing, and I'm so wanting to go to some antique stores here in Salt Lake City and see if I can find any kind of original chicken scratch. I'm really curious about it, but doesn't it look just lovely? And let me look at the thread that we're using here, because I'm trying to think. I would, you know, if you compare it to a regular embroidery floss, let me go ahead and count how many threads are in here. Does anybody have any thoughts? And it really is a thicker, boy, there's 4 strands. So it is a thicker type of thread, and it has 4 strands to it. So interesting. So let me see here. Are you using a stabilizer on the back of the chicken scratch? No, I'm not. Should I be? Should I be using a stabilizer? Maybe I should be. From the Lori Holt videos that I've watched, I didn't see her talk about a stabilizer, but have you done chicken scratch before, Lorraine? I'm very curious. So anyway, so you don't do, but what a beautiful thing, and what a beautiful way to use thread. And there's a lot of really neat fabric companies that have come out with some neat ginghams, but I love this larger gingham. Let's see here. Hi, Amy. Hi, Amy. How are you doing? Amy, okay, Amy Barrickman is on live with us, and she is so awesome. She has Indigo Junction, and she has one of, I'm sorry, this is like making, my poor sweet husband. He's an attorney, and he has this case, and there was an emergency with the case. But Amy Barrickman, she has Indigo Junction, and Indigo Junction is a phenomenal company. She's been writing patterns for probably 27 years. And Amy Barrickman is on live right now with us with on Facebook. And she actually, Amy, I wish I could have you join in on the live. I just don't want to mess it up right now, but we should plan this and join in on the live. And oh my gosh, she ended up knowing a woman that had all these vintage things from, she had the first sewing school. Amy, can you explain it a little bit in a comment? But she had the very first sewing school kind of way back east. And Amy was able to get all of her patterns, all of her periodicals, everything. And Amy collects a lot of vintage things. So I would love to hear, oh, Amy, I would die to see some of your chicken scratch. I really would. I would just die to see it. So we've got to collaborate and see, because I would love to post some pictures of it. I think it's pretty fun. Okay, so I want to show you guys something else. So the other thing I'm doing is I'm storing some of my thread in these little tins right here. So I'm storing my thread in there, and then I'm storing my chunky floss in this one right here. Although we do use it on this block. But the chunky thread, I'm actually storing in there. Oh, I'm going to need the point-to-point turner. And if you don't have needles with the chunky thread, you're actually using a chenille needle. And I have had John English needles here. And anyways, yeah, don't die, Deanna, is exactly right. Anyways, but I do have John English needles that are chenille needles, which are, they're really at a great bargain price on the website if you guys need a chenille needle for that. So anyways, let's keep going. But tonight I kind of want to talk a little bit about organization, but I have something kind of fun to show you. But let me switch this camera just a tiny bit. Sorry guys, but I've got something fun to share with you guys. So I went to the warehouse today and they finally came in. Lori Holt has these needles, and you guys, please tell me if you have ever seen this. Okay, Amy Berkman made a comment. She says, I love this vintage craft. And I love you, Deanna. Sure, Mary, so the woman that she was with, Mary Brooke Picken, is the name of the woman that she was able to inherit and to get out all this stuff. She says, check out Vintage Notions and amyberkman.com for more on the school. Yes, that Deanna mentioned. Thanks for the shout out, Deanna. Oh, no problem. In fact, Amy, let's do a live together, because I really do want to show everybody, because I don't know if you guys appreciate some vintage things or some of the sewing things. I love everything that's sewing. I mean, look at this right here behind me. But this is like a dressmaker's ruler to go ahead and measure, say, a skirt from how far off the ground, and you take it around. And at the bottom, look, it says Singer. It has like a little tray to hold pins. I just love antiques. So I don't know if you guys have antiques, but send me pictures of your antiques and I'll post them, because I love those things. And I don't know if other people love it as much as I do, but I really, really love it. Hi, Dee Dee. How are you tonight? So, and Amy Berkman has got such a phenomenal collection of things. But let me go ahead and share with you what's brand new. They're the Nifty Needles. And if you're interested in this, I am sure that this will probably go out of stock, because unless they ordered really well this time, but a lot of the supplies for Lori Holt's things do go out of stock pretty quickly. But this is the Nifty Needles that she came out with. And please, somebody tell me if anyone has ever done this. So Amy, if you're still on here, let me know if anyone has ever done this. But this is a package of needles, which of course we've all seen the vintage needles. And that's another thing I collect, are just even these vintage needle collections like this. But what is so unique about these, the way that this Lori Holt has organized these needles, and I'm going to have to look at them myself, is she has made them different colors. They have colored the needles. And so the pink ones are for your binding, for your quilt binding. Your yellow ones are tapestry needles. Your blue ones are sewing needles. No, that's navy blue. So the aqua blue are embroidery needles, and the red ones are the chunky thread needles, which is similar to a chenille needle. And then the applique are green needles. Have you guys ever seen needles that were color coded? Have you guys ever seen that? Okay, so Amy says yes. Here is my vintage made. Okay, good. I can't wait to see that too. Yeah, we've got to share all of that. In fact, I'll share that to the page for sure. But have you ever seen colored needles like this, Amy? Has anyone ever seen colored needles? Because I will all the time, I'll like pick up my little tray. It's kind of stuck to this right now because it's magnetized. But I'll pick up this tray and I'll find a needle in there and I'll be like, what kind of needle is that? You know what I mean? So anyways, I love that they're color coded, and then you can put them in different places. So anyways, It's about, I think it's $12 at regular price. Vanessa just inputted these on the website because I just barely picked them up from the warehouse. I was so happy that they were in stock. So pretty neat. And so you can see earlier today we were using a regular chenille needle that I had. But I just think that this is really, really nifty. Okay, one more thing that I'm going to go over with you guys with the Lori Holt, and then we'll get into the mixer. So I'm trying not to distract you guys too much. But Lori Holt's patterns, I mean, you can see what this is like. So it's all cooking and everything else. So Lance says, okay, all right, very, very good. Okay, thank you. I'm so glad you appreciate the live. But this is the quilt that we're making. It's a Let's Bake quilt. You probably can't see it with very much glare. But I organize everything in a binder. And the new thing I'm going to give you guys is I've done some of these sew-alongs, and everything kind of gets lost for me. So I put my shapes into a sheet protector, although I do want to make a zipper pouch, and let's go ahead and learn how to install a zipper and those kind of things. We'll maybe do that later this week. Then this has the instructions for the pattern, which is free, and it's on the website. And if you want the link, just write yes, please on the Facebook feed. YouTube, that doesn't work, and Instagram, that does not work. But just write yes, please on the Facebook. And if you want to get the PDF, well, the pattern for this quilt, but what I'm going to offer to you guys tomorrow is these PDF organizer sheets. So this is for week 1. And remember, we made the pies last week. So I put all my pieces for the pies in here. But I just kind of get tired of misplacing things, or I have to look at it carefully. These are the stitched flowers, the gingham for the stitched flowers. This is the tablecloth, and I put my hoop in there that's a little bit larger for that one. Tonight we're making the mixer, the red mixer, so all of my pieces for that until they're appliqued are going to go in there. And then this is all of the pieces for the measuring cups and for the pink measuring spoons. So I've got these organized like this. And what I'll do is there's a PDF that you just download. And when you download it, then you can, put them in your own organizers or whatever you want. But definitely, the blog post that we're going to do tomorrow is how to organize your everything for some of these sew-alongs, because there gets to be so many pieces and things like that it gets hard. I also have these like little organizing protectors here that I'll put like my interfacing in there and things like that, just to make my life a little bit easier. And now I'm going to put my needles in here too. So you can see I'll just kind of slide my needles in there, and I won't, lose it. I did the teal color because I like it, and then that's the schedule of it on the back. So anyways, but just so you know, that's what we're doing. But, well, that's how I organize mine, because I get tired of second guessing myself. Okay, so this was the chicken scratch. We went over that. I'm going to set this to the side, and we're going to get down to the mixer. Okay, so we're doing mixer, measuring cups, and the tablespoons, the measuring spoons. But we're not going to be able to, oh dear. I think I dropped something. So for this one, you use the So Simple shapes. And I could go back to my shapes, but the one thing that you definitely need to get if you want to do this pattern is the So Simple shapes, and then you need to download the free pattern. So those are the must-have is this. And I dropped, oh yeah, I did drop something. Yep, this dropped. And let me see, something else dropped. I'm such a silly numbnut. Okay, oh, this dropped. Okay, here we go. All right. Okay, so this is the other part of the mixer. So, and I wanted to kind of show you guys how this is in pieces so that you guys can see how this gets done. The other thing is Lori Holt uses a lot of bias tape. And if you don't want to sit and make your own bias tape, which you can, use these bias tape makers. And I wanted to show you guys how to use a bias tape maker because I think it's fascinating. But for this piece right here, we went ahead and put it through the bias tape maker. So let's go ahead and lift this up. So you can see for the top of the mixer, she's actually piecing this into several different pieces. you have this striped pattern right here. This is the bias tape that was made, that we went ahead and made, and you can see that crossed over on the back. We put it through the little thing, and so that goes right there. And then on the head of the mixer is this little piece of fabric. So we're gonna just glue this down. Please tell me I didn't misplace my glue. That's so funny. Oh, there it is. Okay. Another thing, I know you guys, I'm this vintage like queen, but I'll take like I'll go to the thrift store and get like a cupcake thing and spray paint it and then organize some of my sewing things in there. I don't know. I know I'm just a corny person. You guys probably aren't into that kind of stuff. But yeah, that's where I had my glue. So we're going to glue down this bias tape along this part. And then we're going to stitch, after we glue this down, we're going to stitch this piece of fabric to this glued. And then what we do is we actually use the Sew Simple shape, which is E5 for the mixer head. And then we go ahead and we stitch this, we'll cut this all out in that one shape, right like that. And that will be the head of the mixer right up here for the mixer with the aqua colored bowl. Does that make sense? Anyway, so that's what we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna show you how to piece that right now. So let's go ahead and do that. I am going to glue, so I'm gonna take the shape over here. And when we do the shape, remember we're going to use that interfacing. So this is kind of interesting to do an applique that actually has several different pieces to it. So this is Sue Daly's glue, and really any kind of washable glue will work. So you guys just do whatever you want. But this is Sue Daly's glue. It is available on the website, but really any kind of washable glue, an Elmer's glue, anything works. It just works just fine. And you can machine applique this quilt together, or you can, and you're kind of aiming for the center here, you can machine applique it, or you can hand applique it. And in fact, I'll have my husband grab the other thread. So there is a whole collection of like Aurifil thread that goes with this. I am going to actually square this up with my ruler because that's not very square, that section right there. I don't know if you guys can notice, but it's not very square. So let me grab a little ruler right here. I'm going to just use this one right there. I'm going to take it with the rotary blade, and I'm going to line this up. Boy, I really got something sticky on that ruler. Who knows? I carry my things everywhere. I don't know. Do you guys just kind of sew in a certain spot? I carry things everywhere. Especially I love having handwork. And that's one nice thing is I always like to have a machine project going on. And then I also like to have a handwork project going on so that I can, when I go places, I can take this with me and I can actually stitch and be productive and make things. Okay. So we are going to, and you guys, I actually have a real iron tonight instead of the easy press because I do want to show you how to do the bias tape. Okay, do people have questions? Let's see here. Let's see here. Oh, okay, we've got some, I've got my little niece on. She's on as my, on my profile, and it's really cute, but she says that that's really cute. Anyways. Hi, it's either Sophia or Dorothy. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and stitch this. I am using red thread so that you can see my stitching lines. Yes. Oh, sweetie, would you hand me that box of thread over there?
Are you doing anything on Facebook?
Yes. David was here tutoring Jake, and then David shared everything for me, which was really sweet.
Okay, it's off.
What?
The computer's not working.
Oh, that's okay. It's all right. You can wake it up. You can wake up my computer. So my husband's home. It's so sad sometimes the things that, oh, my husband is mainly an attorney for family law. He's been doing it for like 27 years. And oh, he likes to sew with me because he'll come home and he'll quilt with me and piece. And he says he likes to put things together. He likes to sew things together because during the day he's breaking things apart all day long while he works, with divorces and custodies and ugh. Anyways, but that's a long time to do that kind of law, isn't it? But yeah, there was a sad case that he had to go help somebody with today, this afternoon. Okay, so he got home a little bit later than usual. So we went ahead and I stitched that there, and you guys can see my little red line. I used about a 1/4 inch seam right there. And then we're gonna go ahead and fold this over, and then you can see what that looks like. So now remember, if you guys want the free pattern or the organizer for the Lori Holt Let's Bake Sew Along, then go ahead and put yes please in the Facebook thing. And then for winning today, let's do some more of, I don't know, what do you guys want to win? Yeah, let's see here. We'll have to find something to win. So here we are. I'm going to lift this up a little bit, that glue, and I'm going to place that back down again because I don't feel like it was super, super straight, because I'm just kind of eyeballing it from afar, right? Okay, there we go. So I feel like that's a little bit straighter. I don't know. Okay, so I'm going to press this, and one of the things I use this design board for, so this is a design board. We're going to do a tutorial. You guys, I don't know what tutorial to do which day, but we got to do the tutorial for the design boards and how to make a design board for you. So I'm actually going to use this. We've got to turn on the iron. I think you have to tip it over and then turn it on. I could use the Cricut Easy Press, which is really a lot of fun. But I'm going to just, well, that'll have to heat up. It'll turn on in just a minute. But we'll safely keep the iron over there. And then if you share, then we've got some, we'll do some Lori Holt fat quarters of fabric for you guys, for those that share. Let's do that. Because I think it's always fun to get fabric, isn't it? It's always fun to get a fat quarter of fabric. And we'll have to do like some red, so it's like you're getting a Valentine from us at Stitches Quilting. Okay, so there we are. So we have this right here. And now we're going to use this shape, remember, right here to cut out the top of the mixer. So this one piece up here was actually pieced, whereas the bowl shape, let's go ahead and take a look at this. The bowl shape, we went ahead and you can see there's a piece of interfacing on here, and I'm going to show you how to do the interfacing. So we stitch it with the right side of the fabric to the interfacing. We slice it right through here, and then we turn it inside out, and you can see how nice that shape is. And you guys, what is the purple thing? Remember the purple thing? So I use the point-to-point turner to help me get my points good and to get that kind of curved real nicely. And of course, if you can see on this side, we went ahead and we did some where you're snipping the curves, so that you get a good curve on that. So that's what this looks like. So there's that piece, and you can see this piece was done with the interfacing. I guess in the old days, people used to do this with muslin, is what they would use for different interfacing pieces. So that's the stand. This is the one part of the stand. It's a similar tool to what you're using, the purple thing. So yeah, any kind of tool works, but sometimes I get lazy. And then that was the plug. This is the head, part of the head. And then this is right where the beaters come out. So, and this is bias tape, again, being used right there. Okay, so let's go ahead and go back to this mixer. I'm going to show you how, and each one of those shapes were actually done with the plastic shapes that are in the pattern, this pattern for the Let's Bake. So I'm going to grab a piece of interfacing for you. And let's go ahead and get that out of my trusty binder, remember? And the interfacing that she uses now, you can use it. It's just a Pellin interfacing. She sells it. You can purchase it just as for, you can purchase it as interfacing. Let me just set that aside. That's Lori Holt branded, but it's still the Pellin brand. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and I'm going to put this up high for you guys to see what I'm doing. So I have the piece of interfacing right here, and I'm going to actually use a pen, and I put the shape on top of the interfacing, and we are going to trace a line around the shape with a pen. So, oh, please tell me this pen works. Mr. Wall, wait, let's see. It works. Okay, never mind. I don't need any assistance. I'm leaving a little bit of room around the shape, so I have room for the 1/4 inch turning part to it. All right. Okay, here we go. There we go on that side. Here we go on this side. And over here. Okay, so I just traced this shape of the So Simple shape. It's called So Simple Shapes by Lori Holt, and this is the Let's Bake collection. She kind of has a different shape that comes out. Oh, you guys, I can't wait to do us a live all about the Cricut Maker too. So I think I've decided to do a once a week day on the Cricut Maker. And then we'll do one of the Lori Holt sew along that you can just learn different techniques for embroidery. There's tons of different techniques for this. Now I'm gonna shove this kind of back over here for my binder. Okay, so we have this shape that is been cut out with the So Simple shape. So I'll go ahead and hold this up again. That was the So Simple shape. This is the interfacing. This interfacing is a little bit stronger than the light interfacing. So now we're going to hold this up like this, and I'm going to put the right side of the mixer on this facing the interfacing, right like that. And then we're going to stitch on the line, and we're going to stitch all the way around. Once again, I'm using red thread, which is probably just fine because this is a red mixer. But it's such a cute red mixer. I'm going to try to line this up so that my little bias tape is going straight across. So we want to do that. And I'm going to stitch this now. I guess, you know what, some pins would be smart, right? Let's be smart and pin a little bit. Sometimes I can get a little lazy with pinning and just kind of wing it. But it's not always smart to do that because then I have to unwing it and unstitch it. I don't know about you guys. Okay, so here we go. So is anybody learning anything? Is anybody learning anything with this type of applique? I mean, I think it's really neat that you're sitting here and you're piecing together some pieces and then you're cutting it out to then be appliqued. So it's pretty neat. I'm excited about it. Just want to make sure that's perpendicular. Okay, I'm going to put this in my sewing machine. Typically, when you're sewing this, I have my quilting foot on right now, and which is fine. It's just a 1/4 inch seam foot, which makes it a little bit easier for life. But what I'm doing is I'm going to put on an open toe foot because when I'm stitching around here, I want to be able to see that line a little bit easier than what that closed toe foot was giving me. So I'm going to go ahead and put on that open-toed foot and pull my thread, and then we're going to stitch this. You want to start stitching about on a line right here. You don't want to start stitching on a curve because it'll turn better for you. Okay, so I'm going to start stitching right about here, and this will be all the stitching that we'll do tonight. Okay, so let me go ahead and press the gas to the sewing machine. I don't know, this just makes my brain think of lots of other things that I could applique like this. I think it would be just really interesting because here we're stitching pieces together that are then being appliqued. Interesting, isn't it? So I'm going to bring this around. When I stitch around a curve on my sewing machine, I like to keep my needle down. So I'm going around that curve of the head right now. And so I'm going to keep that needle down. So if you are on your regular sewing machine, I have a button that my needle will stay in the down position whenever I want. But otherwise, you can turn your needle and keep it down so that you can pivot this piece around and easily pivot it and move it around. You also want to use a small stitch length when you're doing these appliques. Yes, the idea of the open toe foot really does help when you're doing, because you're wanting to watch that line that we drew, because you're stitching right on top of that line. So I'll take off my 1/4 inch or whatever I might have and make sure I have kind of an open toe foot on there. Okay, so we're using a shorter stitch length, and I'm going to go ahead and pull this around. I'm going to keep that needle down because I'm going around that curve, and then that way I can smoothly go around that curve and kind of keep the shape that this came in. Hi Nadia, how are you this evening, you guys? It's so good to see everybody. Tell me what you guys are up to. Tell me where you guys are from. Let everybody see where everybody's from. It's just so amazing. But tell me what you guys are doing, what you guys were up to today, or what kind of things that you did. I wrote some patterns and got some of that done. So that was really good. So I'm going to take out these pins now because I finished that. And then we are going to trim now. You can see where I stitched. So you can see the line that I stitched around. We've got some extra stuff right here, but you can see how that looks. And now I'm going to use my smaller scissors, and I'm gonna go about a 1/4 inch around. And you want to go a pretty healthy little distance, because it actually, if you go too close, it makes it less stable than if you've got a wider amount. But about 1/3 to 1/4 of an inch. 1/4 of an inch is good, but you want that to be turned, and you want to be able to get the shape and kind of finger press it and get some memory back to the item. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to trim off that excess fabric and the excess interfacing there. Okay, so you guys can see what I did. Here we go. And the back of it looks like this. So you can see how the back of that looks, where it's been pieced together. And then remember, we just glued that bias tape down. All right. So we're going to go ahead and discard these pieces. And now what I'm going to do is lift up this interfacing. So does anybody, oh, hi Ann from Houston, Texas. How's it going? Oh my goodness, it's so good to see you. Okay, in fact, I was just in Houston teaching. I had to teach for Cricket, a sewing class up there, back in November, I believe it was. Okay, so I just kind of put a hole in the back of that. And now we're going to birth the mixer. You guys ready to birth the mixer? North Carolina, we've got Florida, we've got the United Kingdom and Yorkshire. Very fun. It's so fun to see where everybody is. It is so fun. I love seeing where all of you guys are from. There's Sandy. There's just lots of different people. Okay, we're turning this inside out. Oh, there's Dorothy from Utah. That's my great niece. I have great nieces. They're so cute. In fact, Dorothy's name is Dorothy Deanna. But it wasn't necessarily after me. It was also after my mother. My mother's name was Deanna too. So, anyways. But my niece is Dorothy Deanna. She's so cute. Okay, so we're gonna just turn that this way. But that's my great niece. My regular niece works for us. And I'm gonna go ahead and put my point-to-point turner in there. And I'm gonna give it a little bit of a press. Let's see here. I'm gonna have to check that iron again. I really like that. Now, when I'm going into this, I'm not going where the interfacing is. Let me go ahead and use this pointy end. Do you see where the interfacing is? I'm not going on that side of the seam. I'm actually going to go between the fabric seam. Does that make sense? Between the fabric seam and the actual front of the fabric, because I don't want to break through my interfacing. So you can see, you can't really see that. So instead of being right up next to that interfacing, I'm wanting to stretch the cotton fabric and get it a smooth edge. So you can see right there, it's kind of flat right there. So by using this little turner, I'm going to go ahead and just try to give this some memory and make it a little bit smoother. So you can go right like that. So is anybody else doing the Let's Bake Sew Along? It's interesting to do, but it's also interesting to watch because you can use a lot of these techniques. Oh, you guys, has anybody watched the Netflix series Oh my gosh, someone might have to help me with my words when I'm multitasking. Corey? Oh, Alias Grace. Has anybody watched that Netflix series? But she quilts throughout the whole movie. And I think it's like a 6-part series. Has anyone seen? Yep, we're birthing the mixer. You're right. Birthing the mixer, the red mixer. Good job, you guys. But has anybody watched that series? I didn't know that it was actually about quilting, and I haven't watched it yet. But I guess and there's a novel, there's a book for it too. Okay, so we've got a pretty good look there. I'm actually going to press this right now. I'm going to lay this down on I'm going to move some of this stuff over. I'm going to lay that down on the design board and just give it a little press. I hope this iron is still on. It's one of those that auto shut off, which is definitely needed in this house. I don't know about you guys, but I'm going to go ahead and press this. Oh, I don't know. There we go. It was wanting to kind of stick to the interfacing. I kind of put it a little bit too hot. Okay, we've got a pretty good shape there, but you can see right here at the end, it's a little flat, and that's a little flat right there. So I'm going to use this pointed side, and once again, I'm going up by the fabric, and I'm just trying to change the memory of the fabric and smooth it out to kind of give it that Kitchenaid mixer head look. Oh, so will pinking scissors help make the edges rounder? Oh my gosh, you guys, I didn't go in and I should have done that. What do you call that? Like this. I didn't go in and snip them. Oh my gosh. Okay, see the things I forget. Yeah, pinking scissors would help, but you know, in some ways that's a good point. But yeah, if I would have gone in and snipped around my circles, that would have been smart. So you guys have to help me remember what I'm doing, please. Yes, you watched it today. Okay, so Sandy. All right, and then there are lots of things that you can go ahead and do. Okay, so that looks a bit better. Let's look at this side. That looks a bit better, but I can work on this more later. Okay, so this is the mixer head. Let's go ahead and lay this down on the design board. You can see that it is, now remember, you can use any kind of fabric with this, but this is going to go over here, and then this comes, we've got to look at this a little bit better. I've got to go look at this, but can you see how that looks? It's looking like a Kitchenaid mixer. So this is where the beaters will come. So, and then there is another piece of bias tape. So I wanted to show you this bias tape and how to make it. So one of the things I use, I don't know about you guys, do you guys use starch at all? I'm going to use just a little bit of starch. Best Press is what's easiest for me to get at wholesale, so that's what I buy. I would actually kind of learn I'd like to make some of my own starch, but I'm going to just put a little bit of starch on there. We're using a 1/2 inch bias type maker, and this is going to go on the bottom of the stand to hold the whole mixer up. We're going to put this piece of fabric, it's 1 inch wide, and it's going to make a 1/2 inch. Let's go ahead and just cut that off a little bit more smooth right there, because that's I don't know, what would you call that? That's like where the holes are where it was being manufactured on the thing. So we're going to slide this into the bias tape. Yes, but only pre-wash fabric. It tends to shrink. Yeah, if you go hardcore pressing your fabric too much, you can actually shrink your fabric while you're pressing it. And even with some of the you know, I will just spritz a small amount, and I'm just putting a little bit of, I can't get this started. This is crazy. Isn't that, okay, let me put on my glasses. That'll probably help. Okay, let's look at this. Okay, so I'm feeding this in here, and you can see that there's just like a little round thing. So I don't know if you guys have used these. Okay, we're gonna feed this end of this into here. Yes, but only pre-wash fabric. Okay, interesting. Yeah, it's interesting. Okay, oh, I got it going. Okay, let's get that going some more. Okay, it's going. Now, I find it kind of helpful once I get it started going in there, I don't know about you guys, but it can be a little awkward. I take my scissors and I'm just gonna feed it along there a little bit. It's hard for me to read while I'm doing this, but I'm gonna feed this while through a little bit until I can get it so it's coming out on this other end. Okay, there we go. Let's see if it's coming out equally. Let's turn this around. Okay, great. That looks good. Okay, so you can see you can put a regular piece, and then you want to keep this centered on this side so it's feeding in through there regular, if that makes sense. So you want to keep that centered, and then as this comes out, see it's trying to swivel a little bit. I want to keep that centered down there, then it will come through. Then Vanessa and I find it helpful that when you're pulling this out to be pressing it. So I'm going to bring over the iron, and as I'm pulling this out, I'm going to press it just ever so much. And then I feel like that little bit of starch that I put on there helps the bias tape stay in place. I don't know though. You guys let me know what you do. Let me see the comments. Let me know what you guys do when you're making bias tape with these little clover bias tape makers. I do sell these on Stitches Quilting. Sometimes if it's just a small piece, I don't bother grabbing the bias tape maker, or I'll just be lazy. I don't know, being lazy, is that the right word? Because then I'll just press it myself to a 1-inch piece of fabric to a 1/2 inch. So I'm going to just bring this through, and let me show you what this looks like. Put that iron over there. So it's coming out pretty good. You can see what that looks like right there. Okay, I'm going to finish this little strand of fabric. Have you noticed the guy, I posted a video some time ago about fabric weaving? They actually use bias fabric pieces to fabric weave. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that, but they maybe fabric weave and then they make like a purse or a tote out of it. Some people are making quilts out of it. It's really definitely interesting. Bought some in 4 different sizes on Amazon, but have not mastered them yet. Okay, then I'm glad maybe you guys appreciate this little tutorial on using a bias tape maker. They're really not that expensive. I don't remember all the prices. You guys, I apologize, but it's on my site, and I usually try to beat other people's prices on my site. Anyways, okay, so I'm getting to the end of that, and I'm going to pull that out. And so tonight I used an iron instead of the Cricut Easy Press, just because, I don't know, it just seems like having that point of that iron right there is kind of nice doing this bias tape. Okay, so Lori Holt does use quite a bit of bias tape in a lot of her quilts. And then what this is for is it will be put down here. It's cut at a certain size, but let me go ahead and pick this up for you guys. But at the bottom of the mixer, it's the base of the mixer right here. So you can see, so that's kind of what the mixer looks like to start. We've got some gingham, rickrack that will come up here and kind of spool around and be the cord for the cord of the mixer, and then we'll make the little plug marks with some embroidery floss. Just so you know, Lori Holt does, so I do have the different rickracks and things like that that you're supposed to have for the quilt. And then Lori Holt does have some embroidery floss. She has 2 different sizes, and Vanessa, I'm pretty sure she's watching online. We need to post the smaller size on. This is the 20 spool embroidery floss, and it actually comes with these cute little wooden spools. And I'll actually keep some of these little metal tins just for my embroidery floss. But these are just really beautiful colors, and it's Aurifil embroidery floss. So there's a 20 spool one, and then there's a 10 spool one. But that's something that she does on there. And anyway, so right here is actually, let me go ahead and show you. It's actually the measuring cups. We're not going to make this tonight because I think I've been on long enough, but I can show you more later. But what you do is the measuring cup, of course, is white. But what we're going to do is use this little piece right here This is actually the shape for the measuring cup itself, which will be on the white fabric. So we're using the white fabric right there. And then this little part right here will actually be for, it'll be the handle. But there's going to be this fabric inside the handle in there. Anyway, so that it'll kind of shadow out with this background right here. So that's what the measuring cups are like. I actually have the, so I'm going to put my bias tape maker over in my cupcake holder. The measuring spoons are actually in the binder. So, but we've got to do those too. Okay, does anybody have any questions? So, does anybody have any questions at all about tonight and about some of these applique techniques? Now, once you have this, let me move this over to the side. Once you have this on here and your piece is done, you can hand applique these on, or you can machine applique these on. Sometimes some of these quilts are a lot of work, and so actually I will machine applique. A lot of her quilts I've machine appliqued. Some of them I'll actually hand applique too. But it just depends if you want to do how big of a project that you want to work on. So anyways, we have someone knocking at the door. So, but just so you know, I will definitely machine applique and I will definitely hand applique too. It just depends on what you want to do. And I'm going to go through the, oh, Dee Dee, this is a good time for you to be live. I tried to post online a time if you guys could make comments of when's a good time for me to go live for you, because we've got people all around the world that are actually watching these live, so which has been really a lot of fun. So anyways, but so yeah, if you could let me know what time this will be. Will the video be saved on your blog? Yes, I do embed the videos from Facebook and from YouTube on my blog. So when I go live on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube all at the same time. I have 3 different devices that are filming me at the same time. And so anyways, and then I will embed the video into the blog post that has to do with this blog post or whatever, or block. But yeah, I definitely do that. So that works out pretty good. If you guys have any other suggestions or things like that, please let me know. What would you guys like to do tomorrow? Let me know. What day is today? It's Thursday, so tomorrow's Friday. You usually try to go live Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 5 days a week. So tomorrow, if you want, I could pull out the Cricut Maker. So if you'd like me to go live. Okay, Carolyn is on YouTube. Will you combine hand and machine quilting within the same quilt? Carolyn, I will, because I am going to teach you guys how to hand and machine quilt. And maybe we should do a little bit of let's do a little bit of how I hand applique and how I'll machine applique on tomorrow. Let's do a little bit of that, of how to machine applique and how to hand applique. And I'll show you how I do that. Now, Lori Holt, which I wouldn't go too crazy on all of this stuff. Really, any kind of thread will work. But if I hand applique, sometimes I'll use a silk thread. In the older days, I would use a silk thread because it was smoother and it just was nicer. Anyway, so sometimes I would do that. But this thread collection, it's actually $300. But it's kind of like eye candy. But this thread collection that she has right here has a whole bunch of machine piecing or regular piecing for your machine of Aurifil thread. But this over here is actually hand applique thread that is a 80 weight. It's an 80 weight spool. Normal machine thread that we use is usually a 50 weight spool. And so, 50 weight that we use on our machines. So the 80 weight is actually a little bit thinner of a thread for hand applique. Now, I will definitely combine both because I'm quite sentimental, because I've had so much fun teaching you guys. So yeah, I will combine both on a quilt. for me, getting the quilt done is more important than every single stitch on there has to be hand. I appreciate handwork, I appreciate machine work, but if I want to get something done and just get it done, I will go ahead and machine it. If I want to, and I will show you how to do it with an invisible thread too, but we also, you have all the matching threads that you can use with the machine. And I think it turns out really lovely. I don't use a blanket stitch when I machine. I just do a real nice tiny stitch, and that Aurifil thread just, it just kind of sinks into the fabric. So I don't know. You guys experiment and see what you like to do, and just see what you like to do. But we can, maybe tomorrow I'll demonstrate the hand and the machine appliquing, and I'd like to teach you guys and pull out the Cricut Maker, and teach you guys some of the things that you can do on the Cricut Maker, because a lot of these shapes you can actually cut out on the Cricut Maker. Lori Holt doesn't make hers available as an SVG file, but we can make our own SVG files. I won't do it for Lori Holt's patterns, but you can do it with a shape like this. But for applique, the Cricut Maker is pretty awesome, and you don't have to reinforce it. It actually has a little teeny tiny rotary blade that is on the Cricut Maker. So I think it'd be interesting for you guys to just see the options that are out there, because it really is revolutionary type work. Okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed this. This was the mixer. I think tomorrow we'll go ahead and show how to hand applique and how to machine applique a piece of the pattern for Lori Holt. And so I'll maybe do that as a short live video, and then we'll do another live video tomorrow that has to do with the Cricut Maker. And because I think on every Friday I'm going to do a Cricut Maker post that, so I'm not overwhelming you with the Cricut Maker, but I really like the Cricut Maker. I actually have my sewing machine. I have the Cricut Maker usually right here cutting fabric. And then I have my laptop, or you can use your iPhone, you can use a smartphone. I use my iPad on the Cricut Maker. I use my laptop. You can use any of those devices, Bluetooth, or you can hardline into a computer with the Cricut Maker. So usually I'll have the Cricut Maker cutting while I'm sewing, and it'll just cut out all the blocks. I don't know if you guys have seen the book 100 Blocks, 100 Days. I did most of that quilt. I cut out on the Cricut Maker, and it cuts out with such precision that it is just crazy. So so Denise has a Cricut Maker. It is really amazing, and even for applique or other things, it has a blue marking, a washable fabric marker too. So let me tell you, it is phenomenal. So anyways, it's just curious. So I'm going to do one post one day a week, and since we haven't done anything yet this week for Cricut Maker, I'm going to do the Cricut Maker on Fridays, so that you guys can go ahead, or at least do one a week. So I'm not overwhelming you with too much Cricut Maker stuff, but at least it's interesting to see the technology. Okay, so good night, you guys, and I hope you guys have a good evening, and we had a really good time, and I think we'll go ahead and have the Mama Tator win on Instagram. We've got 4 people on YouTube, so let's go ahead and have Carolyn Schofield win on YouTube. And let's go ahead. Hey, Corey, can you help me figure out the winners for people that shared on Corey, honey? So I'm going to end the video on YouTube and Instagram, but we got to figure out the winners for Facebook. So go ahead and hold on, and I will announce those winners so you guys know that you need to message me. Okay, have a good evening, you guys. For you guys on